Brought to you by PrayLatin.com, makers of prayer cards featuring complete English phonetic renderings of Latin pronunciations.
Here's something for you to pray on. Whether you go to Mass, whether it's when you went to Mass today or after you've come home from Mass or whatever, I want you to see this story because right now, the confusion in the church is overwhelming. We don't know what's going on, it seems like. But that hasn't stopped the forces of Satan in the culture from also being on the march. The forces of Satan in the culture are continuing to mock the faith, to do sacrilegious and blasphemous and horrifyingly evil things. I'll give you an example of this. We have the story here worth your attention from TFP Student Action, Tradition, Family, and Property Student Wing. With their headline, Black Mass, Sacrilege Planned Inside Kansas State Capitol Sparks Outrage. There are at least two kinds of a Black Mass that are offered. The first kind of a Black Mass is the kind that is basically a bunch of people, edgelords, not knowing what they're doing and not having any fundamental concept or realization of what it is their kind of powers they're engaging with. They call it a Black Mass, and what they're doing is LARPing. And I'm not excusing what they're doing. It's both stupid and evil. There's another kind of Black Mass, and a real kind of Black Mass is offered by a fallen Catholic priest, someone with valid holy orders. And they essentially do a Black Mass where they offer the typically pre-conciliar traditional Mass in reverse. The consecration is valid, but they're doing it to be sacrilegious and blasphemous and all the rest, to mock our Lord and to honor the devil. Those are the ones offered by true believers. A Black Mass should be opposed every time you hear about one. And so Tradition, Family, Property has a petition, and I don't normally promote petitions, but this one you might actually accomplish something. I'll put a link in the show notes at returntotradition.org. You can just go to TFP, Tradition, Family, Property, tfpstudentaction.org to find it. Here are the details. On March 28th, the Kansas State Capitol will be the site of a public sacrilege. A group called the Satanic Grotto has scheduled what they call a Black Mass inside the Capitol building from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. In response, the American Society for the Defense of Tradition, Family, and Property, TFP, has launched a nationwide campaign to protest this grave offense against God. A petition drive is underway, and over 13,000 signatures have been gathered from outraged Americans. The online petition addressed to Kansas Governor Laura Kelly is posted at the link there. A protest rally of reparation is also being planned. Kansas State Capitol Events Coordinator Kathleen Williams confirmed via phone that the event was officially authorized and will take place on the first floor beneath the Capitol's rotunda. The organizers of the Black Mass have made their intentions disturbingly clear, quoting the Diabolists here. Join us at the Topeka Capitol building in Kansas as we dedicate the grounds and our legislature to the glory of Satan. We will be performing rites to the Black Mass and indulging in sacrilegious blaspheme. Come on, guys, learn English. God will fall. Okay. God will fall and Kansas will be embraced by the black flame of Lucifer. Hail Satan. Boy, these guys really think highly of themselves and have absolutely terrible theology, but what do you expect from Satanists? Well, let's continue. The TFP is organizing a rally of reparation outside the Capitol where faithful Catholics will offer prayers of atonement as the blasphemous ritual takes place. Once a permit is received, a time and location will be announced. John Horvath, American TFP Vice President, calls faithful Catholics around the country to action. As a Kansas native, I'm appalled that the state Capitol building is being used to host such a heinous blasphemy. This is not just an offense against God, but an attack on the very moral fabric of our state and nation. I urge all God-fearing Americans to take a stand. Join us in peaceful protest, sign the petition, and offer prayers of reparation. Now is the time to defend our faith and reject this public affront to God. Protest against public Satanism has a history of success. In 2014, when a Black Mass was scheduled at Harvard University, TFP Student Action and other organizations launched petitions that gathered a total of 168,000 signatures. After a flood of public outcry, the sacrilege was canceled. In 2023, a conference called SatanCon was held in Boston, Massachusetts. Hundreds of Catholics converged upon the city for 3 days of peaceful rallies of reparation. The following year, SatanCon was canceled. As of now, there are no indications that will return in 2025. It goes on. And I have a bit of advice for the bishop. You have the power to stop this. You absolutely have the power to stop it, and you have time. Right now, you have about 3 weeks. About a decade ago, in the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City, a Satanist got his hands on the Eucharist and said he was going to conduct a black mass. He made it public. The Archbishop of Oklahoma City, Archbishop Coakley, who is the Archbishop today, rather smartly completely understanding the teaching of the Church on the Eucharist and who has a right to receive the Eucharist, filed an injunction claiming that the Satan worshiper had stolen the Blessed Sacrament and that it was the property of the Catholic Church and he had no right to it. The courts sided with the Archbishop. The courts ordered the Satanist to return the Blessed Sacrament to the bishop. And the bishop then disposed of it in the way it's supposed to be disposed of in such cases. There is a proper ritual for doing it, and he did that. For the Archbishop in Kansas who is going to be dealing with this, you have a very simple way to deal with this. You can cite the court case in the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City as precedent. You can file an injunction against what they're doing because they're using stolen property. I know, theologically, calling our blessed Lord, truly present in the most blessed sacrament of the altar, the property of the Church. I know that's a little bit, theologically it's a problem, but legally it's not. You can stop this by taking legal action. So I would suggest, if you're watching this in Kansas, or maybe since we're Catholics and this is something that concerns everybody from around the world, find the official hotline for the Archdiocese where this is taking place. Call them and ask that they take legal action. File an injunction with the courts to stop this because it uses the sacrament of the altar and as it has been stolen and used illicitly. You can stop this. There's no reason to put up with this. All right, folks. You can tell it's a story that bothers me fundamentally. But I'm curious what you think about this. I'll try to put in the comments later the hotline for the bishop's office, the chancery office in question, in the pinned comment, and as well as through the petition. Petitions are, I'm not a big fan of petitions usually. I don't think they usually accomplish anything, but in this case it might. But beyond that, call the bishop. Flood their inboxes with your emails. Be respectful when you contact them, but demand that they respect the most blessed sacrament of the altar by using the mechanisms that they can lawfully use. They can lawfully and peacefully use these to stop the Black Mass from happening. Because the Eucharist is only the property of the Church. And anybody who would offer it in the Black Mass has incurred automatic excommunication. It is no longer Catholic. So they can't defend themselves that way. There's legal precedence for this. They can stop it if the bishop has the will to act. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. So does sharing this on social media. That helps too. Pray for everybody we spoke about here today. I'm not here to rile you up and disturb your tranquility and your peace of mind, especially during Lent with this stuff. But time to take a stand is now. Something extra blasphemous about what you just heard happening in Lent. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.